Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss about subject-verb agreement, which I spoke to you earlier, right? Like noun-pronoun agreement, subject and verb also should agree with one another. If you turn to your textbooks on page number 38, we have, a small box which is highlighted, which says a verb must agree with its subject in number and person, which means the noun or the subject that is being used in your sentence in number and in person, the verb should agree with it, right? To explain this, a table is given to you in a very simplified form. Okay, so let me put this topic on the board, which is subject. All right, subject and verb agreement. Subject and verb agreement. Very simple. It sounds, a little complicated. What is subject, what is verb, and how should it agree? It's as simple as noun and pronoun agreeing. Alright. So let's go to the table on page number 38, where you have 3 columns in the table, and it speaks about the scenario, which means the situation in which the verb is used, and then an example for it, and also a solution given to you so that you understand it very clearly. So let me go with the first one. The first one is the noun has the same singular and plural forms. The noun has the same singular and plural form, which means the same noun can be used sometimes in singular forms and sometimes in plural forms, right? The example: the restless sheep were herded into the pen. Herded is they were all moved, right? They were herded. The shepherd, he's herding the sheep. Now here, the sheep, the restless sheep were. Now here, sheep, though it sounds singular, is used in the plural form. So the verb that is used is were herded into the pen. Pen is nothing but the place where the sheep rest, where the sheep live. Like, the horse for a stable. Horses live in a stable. In the same manner, sheep live in the pen. So here, sheep is used in the plural form, and so you use the verb were. If you look at the next one, this sheep was lost. Now here, this sheep here is used in the singular form. Alright, and so the correct verb has been added to the sheep, which was and not were. This sheep were lost is not right. This sheep was lost, okay, because it is used in the form of a singular. Now what is the solution here? It says decide depending on the situation. Decide which verb you should use depending on its context. Okay, the next example or scenario which is given here is: some nouns appear to be plural but are used in the singular sense. Some, when you look at the noun, it looks like they are singular. Okay. Now, the easiest way of identifying a singular and a plural is with an S which is added at the end. When you add an S at the end, it becomes plural. It's very simple, isn't it? And if there is no S, it is considered to be singular. But there are some nouns which have an S at the end but are still considered singular. The example given here is politics, mathematics. They have an S there, but they are used in the form of a singular subject. Now the example given here is: mathematics is a compulsory subject till class 10. This is the most difficult subject, isn't it? How we wish we did not have mathematics in our subjects, right? So here, mathematics, though it sounds plural, is actually one subject. It is, yes, mathematics has a lot of problems to be solved, but it is termed under one subject. So what is the right verb that you have to use here? The subject is mathematics. Since it is used in the singular form, the correct verb to use with mathematics is. Mathematics is not correct here because it is used in the singular sense, and so you say mathematics is a compulsory subject till class 10. Alright, and then if you look at the next example which is given here, politics, we again have S there, but again politics is considered a singular one. Politics is not everyone's cup of tea. Yes, Politics, and then we are not using are as the verb, but we are using is, because politics is considered to be singular, though it sounds and though it looks plural. Alright. So here the solution is use a singular verb. For words like politics and mathematics, though they look and sound plural, you have to use a singular verb because they are used in a singular sense. Fine. Now look at the next example which is given here. It says some nouns appear to be plural but can be used in the plural as well as the singular sense. Yeah, I think this is confusing you further, right? Let's read this again carefully. Some nouns appear to be plural but can be used in the plural as well as in the singular sense. Okay, the nouns which appear plural, right? Now, you know, politics and mathematics, they appear plural. But how did you use them? You use them in the singular term. But there are some nouns which appear to be plural. They appear to be plural, but are used in the singular sense. Now, the example that is given here is jeans, scissors. Okay, jeans and scissors. They are plural in the sense, but then they are used in the singular sense. I bought a pair of jeans for myself. Isn't it? Don't you do that? A pair of jeans. Now look at the example that is given here. This pair of jeans belongs to me. Jeans is not two in number, right? Jeans is considered one, singular. So this pair of jeans belongs to me, right? And then the next one. Yeah. The example here is, those jeans are too tight for me. Those jeans are too tight for me. Now here you are using jeans in the plural form, and so you have used the verb which is also in the plural form. You have used are instead of is, right? Okay. And now the explanation or the solution that is given to you here is, use the context to check whether the noun has been used in a singular sense or in a plural sense. That is common sense, isn't it? Common sense says that you have to read the sentence carefully and see what is the scenario of the word jeans being used here. Is it used in the singular way or is it used in the plural way? So to understand the sense, we need common sense, right? Now let us look at the next example which is given here. Compound subjects connected by and. Compound subjects connected by and. Example, Mickey and Donald, Ram and Shyam. Alright, and the example that is given here is, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck are the best of friends. Now here they are using this in the sense of a plural subject, and so you are using the verb are. Now use a plural verb as the subject is plural. Okay, this is the rule that you have to use when you come across such sentences. Now look at the next one. It talks about compound subjects connected by and, which suggests one idea to the mind. Example, bread and butter, time and tide. Okay, the example sentence is, bread and butter is a popular breakfast item. Bread and butter, though they go together, they are considered not as two items but one item. They are considered as a singular subject. And so you say, bread and butter is a popular breakfast item, which is a singular pair, and that is why the verb that is used here is also singular, which is. And then we come across the next one, which is, time and tide waits for no man. Time and tide. When you are using this compound conjunction and, you are actually framing it as one word, one phrase. Time and tide waits for no man. So here again it is used in the same sense of singular, and the solution which is given to you here is, use a singular verb as the subject is considered singular. So as I said, bread and butter is considered singular, though they are two in number. Time and tide are two in number but are considered singular. So use a singular verb, and that is the time when the verb agrees with the subject. Now looking at the next sentence here. One of the subjects joined by or nor is plural. One of the subjects, so which means there are two subjects. One is joined by or nor. So how would you frame such a sentence? Example is David or his brothers. The example is David or his brothers. Let's look at the example. It says either David or his brothers are going for the party. Okay, either David, now David or his brothers. Here what's happening is you are considering the subject to be plural. Okay, and so you're using the verb which is also in the plural form. That is the time when the verb agrees with the subject. Either David or his brothers are going for the party. So when you consider the David and or his brothers as a plural form, you use the plural verb. Now the explanation or the solution that is given here says, place the plural subject closer to the verb and make the verb agree with it. Okay, now what is the plural subject here? David is singular. So the plural subject is his brothers. Brothers is plural. So place this close to the verb and make your verb also plural. Right? So you've done it that here in this sentence here. Either David is away in the beginning, or his brothers. His brothers is very close to the verb which you are using is are. So either David or his brothers are going to the party. Now here you can make another change. You can use his brothers in the beginning and bring David back. And when David is followed by the verb, since David is singular, the verb should be in the singular. Either his brothers or David is going for the party, because you have used David in the second place and immediately after David you have the verb should agree with the subject which is just before the verb. So you are going to use a singular verb which is. Alright. So the next on the next page, the last two items here is collective nouns. That is the scenario or the situation. Example is orchestra. Now orchestra doesn't have an S. Yeah, it doesn't have an S. But you know, an orchestra considers of a group of musicians and singers. That is an orchestra. So they are collective nouns. Group of people, collective nouns. Band. Band is not singular, isn't it? You will not find one person blowing the trumpet. A band is a group of people, a group of musicians with different musical instruments. That is a band. So they are collective nouns. Now the example that is given here is the orchestra is going to perform before a live audience. Now the orchestra, when I said orchestra, I am actually not talking about one person. I am talking about a group of people or a group of musicians in the orchestra. Now what is this orchestra doing? The orchestra is going to perform before a live audience. Now here we have considered orchestra as a singular subject. It is, though they have many people, orchestra is spoken to as a singular subject, and so we have used a singular verb. Now the subject remains singular. That is the solution that is given here. The subject orchestra, though it has a group of people or musicians, it is considered singular, and so the verb that goes with orchestra also should be singular. In the same manner, the last scenario here. The subject is a collective noun that can be treated as a singular entity as well as a plural one. We came across this example even earlier. It sounds singular but is used plurally. It is sounding plural but it is used singularly. Alright, like the collective noun orchestra. It is a plural one but it is used as a singular one. The same here. Another example. Example here is jury, committee. Now jury is a board of judges. Okay, committee is a board of people. Right? So jury and committee are collective nouns but are considered singular. For example, the jury is unanimous in its decision. Now to make a decision, a group of judges sit together, right? And all the judges unanimously, unitedly agree on one decision, right? But then jury is not considered as singular, as plural, but it is considered singular. The word jury is considered singular, though it has a group of judges in it, right? And then another example that is given here is the jury differ in their opinions. Again, jury is considered to be singular here, though there are many people which are consisting of the jury, but it is used in the singular form. So it says the jury differ in their opinions. Now the sentence is not saying the jury differs in their opinion. because it is speaking about jury in the singular term. It is, the verb is also singular, which says the jury differ in their opinions, all right. And the solution that is given to such, singular sounding verbs are: use a singular verb when the collection is thought of as a whole. As a whole, jury is thought of as a whole. The whole team of judges is called a jury. So they're talking about the whole team of judges as a whole, as one thing, right? So it is considered to be a singular verb. And then use a plural verb when the collection is thought of as a plural entity. Now here, plural verb, when you're talking about it as a plural entity, right? When you are considering jury as singular, use a singular verb. When you are considering jury as a plural, use a plural verb. That's as simple as it, right? So as I said, verb should agree in person and in number. Now it depends on the way you are using the subject. Are you using it in the singular form? Are you using it in a plural form? Now, even if you want to use certain words like politics and mathematics in the plural form, you cannot use it because it is considered singular. Politics is a group of people, government employees, politicians, all put together, they form the politics, right? But you cannot use it in the plural form. It has to be used in the singular form only, all right? A very quick review of what we did so far. The first thing that you have to remember for subject-verb agreement is that the verb should agree with the subject in number and also in person, right? Now we have come across so many examples. The first example that is here is the noun has the same singular and plural forms. One noun is used either in the singular form or in the plural form, and the example that is given here is sheep. As I said, sheep is used both in the singular and also in the plural form. And when you are using sheep in the plural form, the verb that follows the sheep should be in the plural form. And if you are using sheep in a singular form, the verb that follows the sheep should be in the singular form. If you come to the next example here, some nouns appear to be plural but are used in the singular sense. They appear, when you look at them, they appear to be plural but are always used in the singular sense, which I just mentioned to you, like words politics and mathematics. They look plural, they sound plural, but are always used in the singular term. So you have to always follow these words like politics and mathematics with a singular verb. Only then there is subject-verb agreement. Alright. And then coming to the next one, it says some nouns appear to be plural but can be used in the plural as well as in the singular sense. Now here, some are plural. There is no limitation here. They appear both in singular and in plural forms. So when they appear in the plural form, see that the verb is also plural. Okay, and if these nouns appear in the singular form, see that the verb is also in the singular form. The example of such words where they can act both as plural and singular is jeans and scissors. Alright, so if you are using jeans in the plural form, use a plural verb. And if you are using jeans in the singular form, use a singular verb. And then compound subjects connected by and. Compound subjects which are added or connected by the conjunction and. What should you use? Example of, the popular animated series Mickey and Donald, Ram and Sham. Mickey and Donald. Now here you are using both these using the word or the conjunction and. Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck are the best of friends. So you are counting these two as two. You're not counting them as singular, but you're counting them as plural, and so you use the plural verb are. The next is compound subjects connected by and, which suggest one idea to the mind. In the previous one, you had compound subjects which were added with and. Now here they are connected by and but suggest one idea. Okay, now what is that example is bread and butter, yeah, time and tide. They are considered two, alright, they are connected by and but suggest only one. They are two different items but are considered one. Bread and butter, time and tide. Both, there are two subjects here but are considered one. Such subjects, what you need to keep in mind is that you have to use it in the singular form, and the verb that connects or agrees with the subject should also be in the singular form. For example, bread and butter is a popular breakfast, bread and butter. Though they are two subjects, they are considered singular, and so the verb that has to be connected to these two words is going to be a singular verb, which is. Bread and butter is a popular breakfast. Alright, the next one is time and tide waits for no man. Time and tide waits for no man. Here again it is considered singular, and the verb that is used is also singular. And then we come to the next sentence, which is one of the subjects joined by or nor is plural. Okay, so you are using or another word nor, and they are plural in number. Now what is that? Example is David and his brothers, right? Now the example sentence that is given here is either David or his brothers are going for the party. Now here either David or his brothers are going for the party. Now another thing that you have to keep in mind here is there are two subjects, which is David and his brothers. Now the verb that follows his brothers should be plural because brothers is plural. So the subject which is closest to the verb is to be considered. Alright. So David or his brothers are going to the party. His brothers is just before the verb, so you are using brothers and using a plural verb. In case you change the sentence and you say his brothers or David are going to the party is not right here, because the subject which is following, which is just before the verb, is singular in number. So you have to use a singular verb. His brothers or David is going to the party. Now these are certain things that you have to keep in mind when you are using a verb and you are seeing to it that the verb agrees with the subject. When you are using two subjects, look at the subjects that is closest to the verb and use the correct form of the word depending on the closest subjects. So here this example is very clear. If it is David before the subject, you will use a singular verb. If it is his brothers before the verb, you are going to use a plural verb, right? And then the next sentence here, collective nouns. Now what are collective nouns? The example that is given here is orchestra, band. As I said, orchestra is a group of musicians. Band is also a group of musicians. Orchestra, you have a group of musicians who play different musical instruments, and you also have singers in an orchestra. The same with the band. Band is, a band which, where different people are playing different musical instruments. But though there are many people, orchestra has around 10 to 12 people, the band has more than that. Sometimes even 20 people in the band, right? Now all those people, make an orchestra or a band, but are considered to be singular in form. So in the place, where orchestra and band become your subject, the verb that follows orchestra and band should be in singular, because they are always considered to be singular subjects and not plural, though there are plenty of people. The example that is given here is the orchestra is going to perform before a live audience. The orchestra, which means all those people, musicians put together as an orchestra, but is considered as a singular subject, and so the verb is considered to be a singular verb. So the orchestra is going to perform before a live audience. And then the solution here is the subject remains singular. This subject, orchestra or band, can never be considered plural, and so the verb that is used always should be singular in form and not plural. And then coming to the last one here, the subject is a collective noun that can be treated as a singular entity as well as a plural one. Listen to this carefully. The subject is a collective noun that can be treated as a singular entity as well as a plural one. So the subject here is collective. Okay, this collective means which is a group of people. So this group of people, which is a subject, can be considered both singular and plural. So when you are in such a situation, what kind of verb should you use? The example of this subject here is jury or committee. As I said, jury is a group of judges, a group of decision makers. Committee is a board of people. Okay, many people, which forms a committee. Now both these, sometimes they are looked at as singular and sometimes they are looked at as plural. They are collective nouns. So your verb depends on the scenario, on the situation in which you are using them. So here the example is, the jury is unanimous in its decision. Now here you are considering it to be singular. The jury is considered to be singular, and so the verb that you're using is also singular, where you said the jury is unanimous in its decision. If you look at the second sentence here, the jury differ in their opinions. Now here you are considering jury, and the word, the jury is considered to be a group of people, a collective noun here. You are using it in the sense of a plural verb. Okay, you are using it in the sense of a plural item. So here you say the jury differ in their opinions. Their, you are using their for the subject that is used there as jury. So as I said, depending on the words that you're using, you will either use a singular verb or a plural verb. If you're using the subject in the plural sense, you will use a plural verb. In case you're using the subject in a singular sense, you will use a singular verb. So the subject and the verb finally should agree in number as well as in person. In order to understand subject-verb agreement again, I would suggest that you read the table on page number 38, which is followed on page number 39, along with the examples to find it, to understand and make the, the understanding easier for you. So in my next class, I'm going to get back to you with the reading. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about reading comprehension skills in my next video. Thank you so much.